Hello everybody, back here again for our vlog a day, and today is Thursday the 5th, and today was a beautiful day outside. Sun was shining, a little bit of clouds here and there. Started off nice and cold. I think it was about a negative 11, something like that this morning, and according to the car it got down to like negative 23, but I don't think it got that cold. I think a lot of that was the wind chill factor of driving down the highway. But today was, either way, it was cold enough. It warmed up decently, but nothing great. Woke up this morning way too early. Had to take my grandmother to Iowa City to the dental college to get some specialty type work done. She went and saw her, I guess there's an old redneck type cheap dentist that she's been seeing down in Missouri for a few years here and that. My grandfather went to him, had his dentures made and all that stuff through the guy. And he's just an old, I don't know, kind of curmudgeonal guy. I don't like him. I've taken my grandparents down there before and took my ex-wife both down there, and I can't stand the guy. I would literally rather have my teeth yanked out with pliers in my garage than deal with this grumpy-ass old man. So she was down there Tuesday and gave her some information, told her that her jawbone was rotting away, and he wasn't going to work on her and send her to the specialist up there in Iowa City. They got her in today, so we went up there for it, and it's about a 3-hour drive. We had to stop a couple times for my grandmother to, get a rest, get out and stretch her legs a little bit and use the restroom. And so it took us longer than it really needed to be. And it was just an amazing, fun, I don't know. My grandparents are different people. They really are just, they're their own people, I guess. And it's one of those things you don't realize how much different they really are until as an adult you start really looking back on it and seeing all the things they do and the weird stuff. So got that all taken care of, got on the road, got up there, found the place, and just, they fret over the dumbest little things, especially like just money and stuff. And they've got money. They're not wealthy, but they're not poor by any means. I mean, they've got 2 brand new paid for vehicles, they got paid for house, they've got money in the bank. And my grandmother, when they came back, she was all worried about like how much the x-rays were going to cost because they took so many pictures up there, and she literally started to cry over how much the x-rays were going to cost. And I'm like, why don't we just ask them what the x-rays are going to cost, because we got to pay the bill, and they should know right now. We can find out in 30 seconds. Walked over and it was $105. Don't get me wrong, $105 is a lot of money that for a lot of people in the world. But $105 is nothing when you stop and think about, enough to cry over for x-rays for your teeth when you're, I don't know, I had a hard time with that. They can go out and buy a $35,000 truck and there's no problem at all, but $105 for x-rays and they freak out. So just a, interesting process in that whole thing. Just a little, I don't know, watching them interact with each other. I don't see how, like, they've lasted this whole marriage and stuff. My grandfather acted like he didn't even know who she was a handful of the times. They were filling out the medical information, and like the question was, have you spent the night overnight in a hospital? And he had to ask her that again, and she's like, well, of course, I have. And because she's been in the hospital numerous times. She has a pacemaker. She spent many nights in the hospital. And he goes, well, I just wanted to make sure. I'm like, you were there with her. And he's so paranoid that he's going to like answer the wrong answer for her. And the reason he was filling it out is because her hands are gotten kind of shaky as she's gotten old and whatnot and stuff. And she's having a little trouble writing. So he's the one filling it out. And it was just sitting there listening to him. And it was just that terrifying thought in my mind that, oh my God, I hope I never end up like that. And the point that I'm so scared that I might write something wrong down when I know it's 1,000% right. Like, there's no way he doesn't know she's not spent the night in the hospital. And Grandma looked at his stuff and she goes, why would you not just write yes? And he goes, well, I didn't know if you wanted to tell him about it. You spent, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just, I second guess so much of the stuff they do. It's just absolutely insane. So got up there, got the whole thing taken care of. We were there for probably 4.5 hours, something like that. They charged us $6.30 for parking for the 4.5 hours, which, okay, whatever. It's not cheap, but it's not, outlandish. And my grandmother just was just taken back with how much that cost. And man, they must just be making so much money up here at this, place. And they just must be rich because they're getting that kind of money from all these vehicles. And I'm like, it's $6.30. It's $1.25 an hour. I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. You're paying somebody to plow your parking lot. You're paying a guy to take the money at the meter and so on and so forth. And just, I don't know, it amazes me how they look at those things. But then they look at GM and they go spend $35,000 on a new truck again. And they act like that's no big deal. And they talk about how great a deal they got because they saved $200 when they bought this new vehicle. So, and by saving the $200 was on a GM like MasterCard. They bought stuff all year long to get the $200 off the new price. So I just don't quite understand the whole concept of how some people interact when it comes to money and that good fun stuff. So went ahead, got done up there finally, headed back home. They wanted to eat at Pizza Ranch in Ottumwa. No big deal. We got there, and it was about 3:20 when we got to Ottumwa, to the Pizza Ranch, and the buffet was closed down from 2 o'clock p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Just because when you play restaurant and you're doing buffet especially, there's a regulation of how long the food can stay out on buffet before it has to come off, be replaced with new food, and there's very seldom, especially on a weekday, are you going to have people eating buffet enough between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock to make it worthwhile at all. The 2 o'clock people are ending their late lunches, 4 o'clock people are the early dinners, and you're good to go. And they were they were like, I don't know, taken back and distraught that they weren't able to eat a buffet at 3:20 in the afternoon. So I said, if you want, we can go hit Walmart. There's Kohl's. We can hit a couple places to kind of just do a little shopping for 40 minutes, go back and eat the fresh, brand new put out buffet at 4, or we can go find somewhere else. And we end up at a Country Kitchen, which was a fine restaurant, but it was still one of those things where you just have your own little deal when you're expecting a buffet of pizza and you end up with Country Kitchen. It disappointed me immensely. So went ahead, finally got back home here. They dropped me off at my house. I was driving, but then Grandpa drove from here over back home. So got home, just that whole, you don't realize how much your mind kind of gets a little bit mushy, I guess, dealing with that kind of thing. And that little part where you just want to scream out, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you acting like this? And you can't, because they're your grandparents, they're old and they're whatever and stuff. So you just had to kind of deal with it. And in the hospital, dealing with weird people. And this is a college learning deal. So there's a lot of very low income people up there having college students work on them. And it's amazing just the personality of very low, poor income people. Not saying anything wrong with that. I was very poor at one point in my life too. And I am now not poor. I am financially restricted by choice, though, not by anything else. And there's a difference in broke and poor. Poor is a lifestyle. Broke is where you are at the moment. So I went ahead and just kind of did a lot of people watching. That was kind of fun, just interacting with people, watching a couple literally argue with the woman about how they had to pay $30 to get their teeth fixed, and they just couldn't afford $30. And he had like 5 fillings done and some other stuff, had a tooth pulled and a handful of things. And he was like, this was supposed to be a free school. I thought we came here for those students to learn. We shouldn't have to pay for it. I can't afford $30. And he was going on. And I'm looking at him. He's got a pack of Marlboro Reds in his hand, which I think last time I looked, cigarettes a pack were, I don't know, $8 or $10 a pack. And he's got one of those, and they both have smartphones in their hand. And I guarantee if you went to their house, they would have cable, they would have beer in their fridge, and they would have cartons of cigarettes all over the house. So my theory is all about choices. Everybody talks about how they're, super poor and they can't afford nothing, blah, blah. But if you actually looked at their weekly spending, they're buying pop at a gas station, they're wasting just unorthodox amount of money on crap like cigarettes and alcohol at bars and that kind of stuff. They have no idea what they're spending their money on. So look at real world, overall, not first world American poor, but real world poor. We have dirt floors, no running water, no electricity, and basically rice for food. That's poor. There's a whole damn difference. So if you have a plasma TV in your house, you're not poor. I don't care how broke you are, but that's a mindset poor, not a reality poor. Poor is you don't have a TV and you haven't seen a TV in over a year. So different world problems, I guess, in the process. So got back, basically got stuff done right here. Had to make some tea, had to kind of do some other things, do some laundry and whatnot. Got that stuff all taken care of. And my mind was just kind of going a little weird. I was up extra early the day before. I was up early today. Brain was kind of mushy, feeling super tired, all that kind of stuff, and decided I was going to lay down and take a bit of a nap. So I laid down on the bed, trying to get warmed up. I was still extra cold for some reason. I had like a chill going on. Got, I'm going to guess, about 30 minutes or so of a nap, maybe 15 minutes. I woke up feeling pretty drowsy, put on my running gear, and took off for my run tonight to make sure I kept my run streak alive. So I got it done, felt pretty good. That ended up right about midnight. Then I was running back home and stuff, went out and ran some more for technically the 6th. So I went ahead and ran my 402nd day so far in a row, because after midnight it counts as a new run. So I ended up running 2 runs kind of at once and cheated that. And my goal is, I hope to come home, go straight to bed. I am super wound up. My mind is not letting me shut my mind off. And I'm going to go ahead and watch a movie, because movies tend to put me to sleep better than TV shows do on Netflix. Watch a movie and hopefully pass out and get up tomorrow and do it all over again. So I will talk to you tomorrow. Have yourself a safe and wonderful day. Thanks for watching.